This video is presented by Western and Southern Financial Group, a game plan for your financial future. Every great team starts with a strong foundation, and your future should too. With life insurance built like a championship roster, Western and Southern helps protect what matters most so you can focus on winning today while planning for tomorrow. Whether you're just starting out your journey, building your dynasty, or ready to retire like a champion, Western and Southern has the right play for your life stage. Visit westernsouthern.com to get your free life insurance quote today. Western and Southern, built to win. Let's take it back to Thursday Night Football for this next game. The Los Angeles Rams and the Seattle Seahawks. What an insane thriller this game was. 38-37, the final score here. The Seahawks clinched a playoff spot with this win here. Their top five graded players in this game, halfback Kenneth Walker with an 83.3, edge rusher DeMarcus Lawrence an 82.7, defensive tackle Byron Murphy with an 82.5, and then right behind him, defensive tackle Jarron Reed with an 82.2. Rounding things out for their top five is Jackson Smith-Njigba with a little bit more of a quiet day, but certainly not when it mattered most with the game on the line in the second half. A 78.4 overall grade there for him. Sam Darnold, 63.2 overall grade, but there's some context there with him that we'll dig into here in a second. On the Rams side of things, wide receiver Puka Nacua with a 92.5 overall grade. Defensive tackle Poona Ford an 89.6. Edge rusher Jared Verse an 80.0. Defensive tackle Kobe Turner 79.2. Then cornerback Josh Wallace at number 5 with a 75.4. Quarterback Matthew Stafford in this game a 79.9. Dalton, what was your stat that told the story here?
I think for me, the big problem, and there's so many different angles you could take in this game, starting with the fact that these might just be the two best teams in football. And we desperately, for the sake of entertainment, need a round 3 between these two teams. We've got to see a third matchup in the playoffs here.
I really do want Packers-Bears again, and then Seahawks-Rams again. I don't know if this is possible to set it up like this, but I want the winner of those two games to go to the NFC Championship.
And the other one, too. I would, on the other side, I've told you this before, I would love to see Texans-Jags with the way those two teams have been playing lately, and I wouldn't even hate a third Bills-Patriots game, man. If we could get some real rubber matches when it comes to the postseason, that could just be outstanding.
If that's the divisional round, like those 4 matchups, the playoffs are going to be so good this year. Anyways, keep going. Stat that told the story with this.
So the big thing for me that was a huge difference from the first game is that Seattle needed more than just Jackson Smith-Njigba to win this game, right? Obviously, on the other side, Puka Nacua almost single-handedly won this game for the Rams, but Smith-Njigba, like you mentioned, 96 yards, and the touchdown that set up the game-winning 2-point conversion. But the contributions they got elsewhere, first of all, kept them in this game and then eventually won them the game. Kenneth Walker, 164 yards from scrimmage. Zach Charbonnet, 54 yards and a touchdown. Cooper Kupp, he had a 2-point conversion in the fourth quarter and a huge catch on the game-winning drive down the sideline. Just an outstanding throw from Darnold and a great catch from him. Rashid Shaheed, right, somebody they acquired at the trade deadline from New Orleans that Clint Kubiak was familiar with, had a big end-around 31-yard run in the fourth quarter, as well as sparking this comeback with the punt return touchdown that brought them then within 30-22. Second time in 3 weeks that a return touchdown for Shaheed has sparked them. A.J. Barner with the big touchdown that ended up obviously tying the game eventually after the wild 2-point conversion on the backwards pass that Zach Charbonnet picked up in the end zone. Pretty much feels like just for fun, just to touch the football, and then it ended up being a 2-point conversion that tied the game. The contributions from everybody else in this supporting cast, right? The fact that they didn't get a 200-yard game from Jackson Smith-Njigba and other guys who are big contributing factors in winning, that's huge to me because there's been so many things said about Smith-Njigba and the percentage of yardage that he has accrued for this Seattle offense. Well, you're not going to win a Super Bowl with one guy. That's not how that's going to work. It's the same reason that the Rams need a healthy Devontae Adams in the playoffs. You're not going to win it with one guy. If you can get contributions like this from the run game with Walker and Charbonnet, from Shaheed, from Cooper Kupp, from A.J. Barner, maybe from Elijah Arroyo at tight end as well, if you can get a more balanced contribution in this offense with Sam Darnold, yeah, he had to gut it out, man, and this is a tough defense to gut it out against, and he got hit at certain points in this game. The pick 6 to Josh Wallace looked like it was going to be a backbreaker at the time, and he just kept punching. But I think the fact that, just like we talked about with New England, it feels like it's somebody different every week. I think Seattle, if they can get in that groove of it being someone different every week. Yeah, Smith-Njigba is their best player, no question. But can we get more of this out of Walker? Can we get more of this out of Shaheed? Explosive plays, 2 or 3 a game out of Shaheed that can flip the game upside down. More out of A.J. Barner in the passing game again like we had earlier in the year. That, to me, is going to be the difference in Seattle potentially making a Super Bowl run and not. Can they continue to get contributions from the other guys outside of Jackson Smith-Njigba?
Yeah. On another side of the coin, or another side of this argument, I would say, is we were talking about Sam Darnold during the game. You and I were texting during this game, and the first half of the game, Sam Darnold really struggled, and it was what you pointed out in the preview show, where what is he like versus these 2 high coverages? Like, is he able to attack this the way that he needs to? And in the first half, he didn't. Him and Clint Kubiak, it felt like they were just sort of figured out. He only had 72 yards passing in the first half, 0 turnover-worthy plays, 0 big-time throws. And on those 72 passing yards, just 14.6 of them were through the air. So a lot of even the small production that Sam Darnold had was not from his own arm. It was from guys getting yards after the catch. And so he was struggling. He wasn't seeing things confidently. He wasn't ready to pull the trigger. He was sort of figured out in that first half. And I wondered if that was going to be the story of him the whole game. If it was just going to be a bad Darnold game, we were going to go, all right, well, bad Darnold game. I guess we'll move on and see if we get better the next time out. Second half and overtime, so much different from him. Now, he had, I guess I'll just read the stats here, 189 passing yards in the second half and in overtime, so much different than just 72. He had 2 big-time throws and 2 turnover-worthy plays, but 64.5% of those near 200 passing yards were through the air. He was doing it with his arm, which was great to see. Now, I will say, of the 2 turnover-worthy plays, one of them, bad throw, was the one that went straight to the linebacker. I can't remember who it was. That was his second interception. The first one, though, there are some turnover-worthy plays and interceptions that you have where you do have to remember that the guys on the other side do get paid as well. And that was the play where the Rams are lined up in single high, true single high. Everyone else is at the line of scrimmage or in press coverage. It completely looks like man coverage. And in fact, they had pre-snap motion that brought a wide receiver from one side of the field to the other, and the defender shadowed him, trailed him, followed him to the other side. That's almost always that's the tip. That's why pre-snap motion can be so advantageous for you, because not only do you get, there's a good look at the safeties, we're going to see what happens when this guy motions from this side of the field to the other. Do these safeties come up and back? Do they both go back? What happens with them? So you get a good look at the safety, but you also get a good look at the cornerbacks. If he's following him, well, guess what? He's probably, almost 99% of the time, he's going to be in man coverage. So they're running a double slant concept where they're just trying to clear out the inside guy to get the outside slant, an open window to be able to throw that. Darnold loads it up, sees it, throws it with great timing, and then what happens? That slot defender's in zone. They're in zone. It was one of those things. It was one of those interceptions where I just go, oh, that was sick. I don't know how else to say it other than to give credit to the defense. So outside of that turnover-worthy play, which is obviously bad for them because it was a pick six, but outside of that interception, he had the one that he wished that he got back. But so much of that second half and overtime, I felt like Darnold was confident and dealing, and more than that, was able to make a mental and physical adjustment in the second half, which I think has been a void of Dalton throughout most of his career.
And even that second one that you mentioned, that was a pressure look where you remember who caught the second interception?
Who was it?
Kobe Turner.
Oh, it was
Kobe Turner dropping into coverage, and he basically threw it right in his chest because you're like, okay,
I thought it was a linebacker.
Who's expecting Kobe Turner to drop off on this spot on the goal line like this? So I mean, you mentioned it. Chris Shula has been great, calling great pressures, especially against the Seahawks team in both of these games. But no, I mean Darnold, his ability to punch back, and then I think they started to see more of the single high looks that they wanted to, because this was one of the Seahawks' best rushing days. It was so important for them in this game, even though they were down 30-14, and a lot of the rushing production was earlier, but it was so important just for the look and getting back into neutral situations for Kenneth Walker to have the day that he did, and for this team to run for 171 yards, their second highest total of the season. This team, if they do find balance right? Both schematically run and pass and more balance with their supporting cast with these contributions. They can go all the way. They just can't be so just deep ball dependent, kind of like you talked about with Drake May before, and so dependent on Jackson Smith and Jigba to make the explosive plays for them. The more well-rounded this team is in the postseason, the further they will go. If they lose, if and when they lose at some point, if they lose in the NFC playoffs, it's going to be because it's just too much of number 11, Smith and Jigba, and not enough of everybody else. But getting 170 rushing yards on this defense, that's a big step forward. If they can keep that up, that's going to matter, because then when you talk about the 12 personnel, the multiple tight end sets you talk about with Seattle's offense all season, their ability to take deep shots against single high when teams are in base defenses, they're beating up linebackers in the passing game. The more that you can run the football, the more effectively you can run the football, the more dangerous you become in the passing game. That's the balance Seattle's trying to find. They found it in this game. It took them a while. They had to get through some adversity against a great team, but they found a way to get it done. And again, it's because they had balance in this game. They were not going to win this game with just Jackson Smith and Jigba going for 150 or whatever he's capable of. They need all of those threats on offense to be there on a more consistent basis.
My most impressive in this game is Puka Nacua. I mean, what more are we supposed to say about Nacua at this point? 16 targets, 12 receptions, 225 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns, had a long 58-yard catch in this game. He's been the best wide receiver in the NFL this year. When he's been on the field, he's been the best wide receiver in the NFL this year. He is in that same situation that you just talked about with Seattle, where it feels like at times there's too much Nacua, but on Seattle side of things too, like it feels like there's too much Jackson Smith and Jigba, and yet these guys continue to deliver. It's unbelievable how we just talked about this with the Ravens, right? In the game that we previewed right before, or that we recapped right before this one, where we just go, it's just Zay Flowers. Like, they have Zay Flowers and nobody else. And we're sitting here kind of having the same conversation with these two teams where, not for this game, but for the majority of the season, it's been just Jackson Smith and Jigba. And for a lot of the season, like, sometimes it just feels like it's just Puka Nacua. These teams are 12-3 and 11-4. And it's because these guys are so damn good.
Well, it's yes, but the Rams, this is the part where if they're going to win a Super Bowl, they will need Devontae Adams.
Yeah. I think so. I agree.
They have
with
Adams,
you.
and they have gotten solid production from their tight ends, and they've run the football a lot better.
The Rams are much more of a complete passing offense than Seattle is. But what I'm trying to say is that, like, the big moments are pretty much one guy for each one of these teams, and the fact that their records sit here and say 11-4 and 12-3 just goes to show you how good these players are, because they have showed up every single time they've needed them. Nakua's last 3 games are insane. Nakua's got like over 150 yards, I think, in each of the last 3 games. It's unbelievable. Everybody knows where the ball is going. It's going to Nacua. You can't do anything about it. That's when you start talking about one of the best receivers in the NFL.
No, absolutely. I mean, and again, it just speaks to all these talented guys they both have, and superstar players and quarterbacks playing really well. It's what makes you want to see a third one. The first one was theater, more so in a little bit more of a defensive slugfest. This one was theater just for all, and I just keep thinking about just all of the events that led to the outcome of this game. You think about the 2-point conversion, right? And I don't feel for anybody more than Jared Verse. He does everything he can. He bats down the pass. He thinks, okay, I preserve the lead here, and it's a backwards pass, and it's a 2-pointer. The almost Ernest Jones interception, the Puka Nacua, the big touchdown, obviously in overtime when you're like, man, this guy's just unstoppable. You can't cover him at all. And then Darnold working back to his check down on the 2-point conversion to win it to Eric Saubert. Like, oh, who caught the winning 2-point conversion? Eric Saubert,
right?
Really, the third tight end on this team. I mean, it was such great football played on both sides of this game, and I would kill to see a round.
Hope we
3.
get it again.
I'm telling you, I'd kill to see a round 3 at any point in the playoffs.
Everyone's got takes. Numbers have truth, and the truth is, most people are betting with emotion. Sportsbooks feed on it. TikTok rules sell it. The hype machine runs on it. That's how you lose. PFF is different. You're betting with winning data. The same data trusted by all 32 NFL teams and the sharpest minds in the game. PFF betting tools take every prop, every matchup, every angle, and run them through our custom models. Built on the best football data in the world. What comes back is your edge. Simple, sharp, and built to win. Want to go deeper? PFF puts a pro-level analytics department in your hands, giving you the same insights teams use to find every advantage. Build your game plan with matchup analysis. Project every snap, every matchup, and every edge before kickoff, because the smartest plays start long before Sunday. Hit rates show how a player performs against their prop and against defenses built the same way. It's the data that gives you real confidence in every pick. Next, Key Insights translates PFF data into the story behind every matchup, giving you the why that powers your bets. From coverage schemes to defensive looks, it's the context that turns raw numbers into winning decisions. When you're ready to take action, filter through every prop on the market and focus on the opportunities that matter, by game, matchup, or value. Then, shop for the best available line in your area and tap your book of choice to place the bet instantly. Everyone's got takes, but now you've got truth. Bet with data, win with PFF.